All right, welcome everyone to the Reclaim Your Decision Power webinar. This is based on ancestral healing systemic knowledge. And let me just give you the pointers of what's going to happen in the next 90 minutes. This is interactive webinar, so I'm going to ask you to interact with me through the chat, through your hands. You can wave your hand at me. You can raise your computer hand during the presentation. But pretty much what I'm offering today is an educational piece with some practices that you can take home. And I hope to put as much value for you as possible. I know it's your Sunday and you could have been doing something different, something outside, but you're sitting here in front of a computer and connecting to people all over the world um, regarding this very important, I think, issue of bringing the energy to the decision process that we want. So I invite you to come into this place feeling that this is something you are committed to. This is something that you want to shift in your life and you want the change to be experienced in your daily life, not only in your meditation practices, right? In something that maybe you stop yourself in, but something that you can really, really practice and really improve your life through. So we're gonna do some slides. And I will share the systemic knowledge on decision-making process, what impacts us, and especially what impacts us on a deeper subconscious level. And let me just make sure I got the right view. Okay. And through the presentation, if you want to hold your questions until the end, I will dedicate some time for reflections. So we can share, so we can exchange, we can kind of feel into where everybody is. And then we'll do a little bit of practice. Just I want to give you the tools that you can take home. So if nothing else, you come out of this webinar having an embodied experience of what it feels like to have that tool to use in the situations that triggering situation when you need to make a decision, when it's anxiety around the decision-making process, right? And then I will invite you to how you can work further into that. Again, we'll have time for questions. I will stay later if we need to. You, of course, are free to go anytime you want, but at 90 minutes, our main content will be complete. How does that sound? Sounds good? All right. Awesome. So let's start from that. Let's start from the first reflection. Take a few deep breaths, center yourself, and come back to that, what my heart truly desires. What my heart truly desires. I specifically formulate it that way so you're not putting it into your mind what I want. Because your mind might say, I don't actually know what I want and I know what it looks like. But if you go a little deeper, if you allow yourself to activate that part where the heart meets the mind, where there's a connection between the two, just give yourself permission to drop into that space. Take a few deep breaths, center yourself, and get into that thing that maybe feels impossible to achieve. Just write down or draw a couple phrases around that and a couple pictures around that. What does my heart truly desire? And that could be very relevant to why you're here. Why did you commit your 90 minutes, maybe 2 hours to listening to this, to getting to this? What is behind that desire? What is behind that commitment? What am I envisioning is my truth? And right after that, you may have the question, but it's impossible. So there's yes, but. Go to that yes, but. And write down that as well. Reflect on that as well. What's yes, but? It's impossible because. Get into that place. That is going to be our opening door. I want you to just keep your awareness on those both. This is what I'm dreaming of. This is what I'm truly desiring. And this part in it, around it, in the space, in the field that stops me from having it. Let's keep those in mind And I'm going to start the presentation. At this point, I don't see you. So if you have any questions, raise your computer hand for me, please. And I'll be able to answer as I go. You can also put it in the chat and I'll check on those as well. All right. So first, I want to kind of bring it together under the roof of systemic knowledge. And do tell me in the chat if you are familiar with family constellations, if you're familiar with the family, with the systemic approach to healing. Just say yes in the chat so I know how many of you are not here for the first time. And if it's completely new knowledge for you, just say no, I'm new to this. All right, awesome. So most of you know, so I'm quickly going to cover the three main systemic orders that were observed in the field that guard the system, protect the system, keep the system in a growing, evolving state. The order number one is everyone has the same right to belong. And that keeps the system complete and whole. Everyone belongs. The second rule is we have a hierarchy. Those who are born before have priority over those who are born later. Love flows forward. Those who are born later have the protection from those born before. That flows both ways. And every generation wishes the best for the next generation. Right? So we receive the love, we receive the support, and we give back the gratitude. And there's also the order of balance. Our interactions are guarded by the order of giving and receiving. We feel in balance when the giving and receiving are equal. We feel in a state of growing when we feel like we received a little more. So can we keep giving more? And all of those orders are valid for all levels of the systems. So we're going to look into the system of conscience, individual conscience, collective conscience, and spiritual conscience. And we're going to focus on the first two because that's where we usually have some interferences. Just come back to that decision making, what your heart truly desires, and what decisions you need to make for it. And what we're going to be looking into is what are the decisions you need to make that keep you up at night? What is it your heart truly desires? And what are the relevant decisions to it that you may be avoiding, escaping, not making, procrastinating on making? Or maybe you made a decision but didn't act on it. Could be as small as you decided to give to someone and you didn't complete it. Maybe you don't know what is it you're desiring. A decision to make for you is, what is it I'm desiring? Maybe there are some steps that you make that you know need to happen, but you're not doing them. You just bring into your awareness, what are the decisions that need to be made? What keeps you up at night? And go to the very core of it. What's in the core of that decision? If I made that decision, everything else is derivative. Everything else will flow out of it. So now let's look at the levels of conscience that we are actively in when we make those decisions. So first, when we go at the core is the individual conscience. And what does it involve? Individual conscience ensures individual survival. That's our primal instincts, right? That's what we do. That's the Maslow hierarchy. Within that conscious, we have the inner parts. We're still a community. We're still a system, right? So individual is a system. We look at one as a community of inner parts. And those inner parts protect us and ensure the feeling of belonging. That's survival. That's our loyalty. That's our priorities and our belief system. When we act out of the individual conscience, we create the feeling of innocence or guilt. I received and I gave a little more, and it makes me feel good. It makes me feel innocent. Maybe I didn't receive enough, and that gets me to feel the blame. Maybe I didn't give enough, and then I feel the guilt. On individual conscience, we have the conflicts and the harmonious relationship between the inner parts. And we base it out of that, we base the relationship with each other. Collective conscience, on the other side, ensures survival of the whole group. The easiest way to think about collective conscience, think about the family conscience. And the family in the whole group being the family members. Collective conscience, or group conscience, family conscience, claims that every member has an equal right to belong. If it exists, it is meant to. If you exist, you belong. That's what collective conscience is designed to do. And if anyone is rejected that right, collective conscience may sacrifice an individual to protect the group. This is an important part. That's how ancestral entanglement works. We may sacrifice the next generation, the next child, to bring in the belonging to someone who was born earlier, the ancestor. When exclusion happens, a later member is assigned to represent the excluded member. Assigned to represent, meaning reliving the destiny of, writing the same story, following the same patterns. And in that system, in that order, there's no moral, there's no polite, there's no this should and should not exist. It just does, it just is. Collective conscience protects all members the same way and seeks to restore the right to belong that has been denied. And it doesn't stop after the person who's been denied, rejected, excluded has passed away. It relives without our subconscious. So how do we release that? And that's where the healing comes in. And we do that through deeply felt love. And when we say love, it's not necessarily that nice, warm feeling. Love doesn't come in one way. Sometimes it can be felt as grief. Sometimes that love can be felt as pain. But the source of it is deeply felt love. And in that feeling, in that deep soul emotion, receive the person as they are, without judgment, without exclusion, without putting the moral boundaries on. And that allows us to move on a soul level, to move the energy so the new pattern can come in. So you can step into your power, into your decision making, working and making that decision out of the center, out of the core of your being. You know that when you experience the feeling of reconciliation and that release all interactions in your life, allows the excluded one to find their own place, brings you alignment and clarity. So now come back to what we did earlier. Come back to that feeling of yes, but. And feel in your body. Where in your body do you feel that? This is an embodied experience. This is now where we search for the alignment between the mind and the body. So bring yourself back to that anxiety, to that indecision, to that part that says, yes, but it will require so much work. Yes, but I won't have time. Yes, but I'm too old for it. Yes, I'm not too smart for it. I'm not enough. I don't know enough. And find where in your body that feeling is. And bring your awareness to that part. And just give it place, give it space. Allow it to appear to you. Now let's take it one step further. Invite that part to come in front of you. Allow it to be seen as a separate being. You may need to relax your body a little more for that. You may need to ground through your feet. You may need to realign. Maybe put your body in a straighter position. Just simply hold space for that energy, for that anxiety, for that indecision to come in front of you. Give yourself an opportunity to see. You're here for a reason. You're supported in seeing. So allow yourself to give it space. And now, as a practice, just allow yourself to consider what if you invite that part that's angry, that's stormy, that's indecisive, that never knows what to do and how to do it right, can never get it right. Invite that part to show itself to you. Offer it your attention. That's your birthright. That's your ability to offer it to your attention. And just focus on that. Focus on that part in front of you. Pour your attention into it without desire to change anything, without asking it to go away, without trying to remove it out of your field. Just give it love. Give it kindness. Send the message that you are here to see, that you are willing to see. And if you need more courage, come back to your heart. Open it up as much as you can to help you even more. Bring into your mind, behind your back, your divine mother, your divine father, your biggest support. You can place your father behind your right shoulder, your mom behind your left shoulder. Just request and therefore receive the support. You notice how you're connected through the feet, through your spine, through your head, through your crown. Lean into that support. And now again, pour your attention into that part that says yes, but, that says it's impossible. It won't ever happen. You'll never get it. It's useless. And keeping your awareness in both the support in your heart, the inflow of energy that's coming from your ancestors, from your divine parents, from your connection with the earth, from your connection with the sky. And pour that love into that part. And allow to receive. You don't have to change. I'm simply here to observe. Then offer an invitation. Invite it to come into your heart. To the degree that you can. It doesn't have to be all the way, but just offer. It may be too scared to come in. It may be too angry. You may not ready be ready for the whole welcome in, but I'll invite you to make at least one step, 2 steps, whatever it wants. You're simply holding the space. And just complete it here for now. Knowing that you come back here anytime, knowing that you can make the movement further, knowing that this relationship will evolve, and that what you did just now is enough. That presence that you offered is enough. Now allow it to come to the natural completion and allow yourself to separate. Just let your attention relax. Relax back into your body. Again, feel in your body what shifted. What is your state like right now? And come back to your breath. Come back to your center. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. This is a simple practice that honors the 3 orders of love that we just mentioned. Everything has a place. Everybody belongs. There's an order of exchange, order of balance, and there's a hierarchy. All right, let's come back into the group space. If anyone would like to share, I'd like to hear what happened for you during this little presentation and little meditation. What shifted for you in your field, in your perception? You can use your computer hand, you can use your human hand whenever you're ready to bring something into the field. Just let us know maybe where was the resistance. Please, Lillian.
So I've in that exercise, what came up for me was fear. So my heart's desire is to be successful, but then there's also fear of being successful. And I was thinking of it came into a particular place, an actual place that has been harvested. The ground is prepared, and I want to plant trees there. But it's land I got from my parents, but it's a smaller piece off a bigger piece, and there's a lot of jealousy around it. So I'm fearful of going in there, being successful, doing what I want to do, and I actually am afraid they'll kill me. And then when I was looking at the fear, I realized, yeah, I'm that afraid, and also it's ancestral. It's in the ancestral line as well, that fear. So when I brought it in to my heart, it empowered me and grounded me.
Mm.
And I actually, what also I realized, and I've realized other bits of this before, but I also now realize that it isn't me doing it. It's me being the vehicle to do it. It's a very big difference. And I get that. And that empowers me. And I'm noticing that awakening or realization more and more each day. So thank you. Thank you so much, Vika.
Yeah. Thank you, Lillian. Beautiful. So beautifully expressed as well. I love those words. This isn't me. This is me being used as a vehicle. Who can relate to that? You know, like for me, it's that feeling of guilt, blame. Sometimes it's something that is being expressed through me. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's our shared experience. And just bringing awareness to that, right? And bringing this vulnerability to that is, hey, me too. I done that too. I am doing this too. I am that vehicle too, is on its own brings some peace to our system. All right, ready to continue with the slides? You want some more? Okay, let's do this. So we're talking about the masculine energy today, right? That ability to make decision. And not that the feminine energy is not important, but there's a meeting of masculine and feminine that creates the reality, right? That gives birth to the moment. And what we receive from the masculine, and when I say masculine, we'll be interchangeably using it, the male lineage and masculine, because in a systemic knowledge, we receive the masculine through the father. And it doesn't mean that there was no connection with the father that you didn't receive it. It's just that it comes through that lineage. So through the masculine energy, we receive the strength to reach our goals. Not only to say, oh, yes, which is a lot about feminine, yes, I want to serve that, yes, I'm feeling it with life, but also our ability to say no. No, this is not aligned with me. No, I'm not a fully yes, no. In alignment of body, mind, and spirit, I'm not a fully yes, no. This is setting boundaries. We're finding our place in the world, work, and relationships through our relationship with the masculine. We achieve personal, professional fulfillment. It highly affects our decision-making process. How calm, how confident, how in integrity we are when we make a decision. And we establish ourselves in relationship with others through our access to masculine energy. Here's a quote from the founder of Systemic Constellations, Bert Hellinger. Our bond with our Father is the strength of the masculine energy in our lives. If we have pending issues with our Father, we are going to have issues with the masculine energy in our life. With our Father, we take all the energy of the outside world, an energy that makes us go to the exterior towards achieving our goals and objectives we set for ourselves in life. It is the energy that comes from our Father that helps us to set limits in all aspects of our life. Let's do a little reflection again. As you have this information, list 3 things that you love about the masculine. It doesn't have to be specific men. It's just those features that you really appreciate, the qualities you really admire in the masculine within yourself and in the masculine in the world. Give it a second to settle. Now let's shift and list the 3 things that bother you about the masculine, that you associate with the masculine in your life, and they have some negative effect on your mindset, on your life, on your health, on your well-being. Just notice how easily those three come into you. Are you more focused on what bothers you, or are you more focused on what you love about it? Just notice your relationship with the masculine in general. Now let's look at a few hidden dynamics that may be present in your life that are impacted by the masculine energy. One of the biggest ones that we find is addiction. It's been noticed that the main dynamic behind addiction is that the child cannot or should not take from the father. The mother, and now when I say the mother, think the feminine, in some way, subconsciously conveys to the child, only what comes from me is good. What comes from your father and his family is worthless. You should not take it. You take only from me. And in return, the child picks up the worst features that the mother associates in the father, and as if it subconsciously say, if I can only take from you, I will take revenge. And at the same time, will I atone for my father for not being able to take from him. Feel into that dynamic. We often see that in teenagers picking up the worst habits. What's missing is the permission from the mother to receive in the heart the energy of the father. Another dynamic, the way it can be expressed is through anger. If the mother diminishes or takes away from the father figure, she hinders her children from having success in society and sows them into a seed of anger that someday will give back to her. We may also get into the dynamic of atonement. Here's an example. A man had an early relationship with a woman who became pregnant and had an abortion. During the constellation, the woman was moved, but the man was not. But one of his daughters was moved by strong emotions. She experienced the pain that her father should have felt. We inherit that pain that way. We inherit the atonement that way. And it may be expressed in our health, well-being, in the thought process. Illness, and especially found in cancer, has systemic nature as well. When on the surface cancer patients appear to be fighting the disease, underneath they have a deep longing to go with the disease into death. This would seem to indicate that for cancer patients, the illness and death itself are not something bad. They're something to be looked at with longing. Allergies may be broadly connected to interrupted movement. Asthma is commonly a result of interrupted movement. When you can't move towards someone, when you can't breathe it out. Depression. Depression sets a rule as one of the parents is shut out. It is always a feeling of emptiness, not sorrow. Healing from depression is when the parent who has been excluded gets a place in the heart. When children accept what comes to them from their parents as a whole, then what they fear remains outside. And of course, it's worth to notice that every trauma holds in itself a special treasure, a special gift, a special strength. The words of the Rumi are when the wound is where the light enters. So through systemic knowledge, the healing path is by matching tragedy at one point with tragedy at another one can be avoided. When members are willing to seek balance at the higher level, for example, by honoring the excluded members instead of repeating their mistakes. This is possible. The younger member respects the earlier members regardless of their actions. At some point, the past, whether good or tragic, must be allowed to be in the past in order for the system to find peace. When that happens, excluded members become a source of blessing rather than intimidation. When everyone who belongs to the system has a proper place in the hearts of the other members, all of those in the system feel whole and at peace. So the path is known. Recognize the entanglement, give it place in the heart, and resolve by leaving what doesn't belong to us, to our ancestors, and stepping in a new way of belonging. And while this path is simple, it is not easy. That's why there's resistance. That's why we do all kinds of practices to bring it to the possibility. Any questions at this point right now? Anjali, hi.
Hi. So, I have a question. So, suppose, like my mother had an abortion, which my father was not aware of.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you mention atonement, so is can it be related to me? It was after my siblings, so my younger siblings.
Good question. The real answer is we'll have to look at it. We'll have to look at it in a constellation to see the truth of it. What we follow in this work is the concept of phenomenology. The phenomenon that happens in the field is what we receive subconsciously. And that's why this work is objective, because we don't look at why, we much more look at what is. As a rule, generally, it's the younger ones who feel it more, who pick up the inherited pattern. Can it be directed differently? Yes. So we don't know until we look at it. But your willingness to look at it is already a healing movement.
And
Make sense?
also one small question.
Mhm.
Addiction, can it be the current trend of social media addiction? Can it also form in this purview? So like some most of us take addiction as either drug or alcohol, but nowadays what we see as a social media addiction or a Insta followers addiction, does this also come under this purview?
Great question. Yeah, so addiction can be even an emotion. You can be addicted to guilt, right? So, yeah, you're right. It's not just drug abuse, it's any behavior that we get into to avoid or escape feeling something.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for asking. So, very important here, yeah, the social media addiction is definitely representing misbalance, definitely has a systemic nature. Addiction to procrastination, it's also addiction to avoiding decision making, right? It's addiction to escaping. It's an established mechanism which we use to protect ourselves, usually from feeling something we don't want to feel in one way or another. It's a behavior that we know doesn't bring soulful satisfaction to us. Nancy, hi. You're mute. Uh-huh.
Sorry, I didn't know that I raised my hand, but I wanted to say though, since I've got the opportunity, I'm really enjoying this session with you, Vika. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Nancy. I appreciate that. Gaia, do you have a question?
Yeah, I would like to just hear a little bit more because obviously it's something that I've done, even if it's not conscious. It's complicated for my daughter. What you said about addiction and the fact that she might have heard from me the fact that, yeah, her father was very abusive and we had to run away from him. And so, of course, I can see how much all of this dynamic is working. But is there any like rituals or sentences that could be said in a constellation in order to find a way to help my daughter to not, yeah, to take what she can take from him, something that I cannot still not say directly to her because she's only 15, so it would be confusing.
Yeah.
But yeah, but how do we do in this kind of things?
Yeah, good question. And thank you for mentioning that she is 15. That's also important factor. Because if she's older and she's independent of you already, that's a little bit different. But right now she's still under the influence of your emotional field, right? And the parent, the father as well. So one thing, well, it's actually two things that I want to share. The first thing is let's look into embodied experience. There's some kind of tension in you when you even speak about it, right?
What?
There's some kind of tension in you when you speak about it, when you consider relationship with your partner. There's some kind of tension with the partner. There's emotional charge. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the emotional charge is huge because I got trapped into something. I wanted to run away when I was pregnant and it was violent. So I had to really find a way to get out. And after many years of trying to get rid of it without being killed or finding my daughter being killed, it's of course I still have tons of anger and I'm still taking what I can in order to protect her, even if it's less demanding than when she was younger. Of course, all of this is still very difficult, and I would like to know if I can, if there is something, because of course I see the anger and how, yeah, it's still very, yeah, still very intense in many ways, especially now that I can feel it because she's less young.
Yeah.
And I don't feel the need so much to protect her from the truth also because it's just she starts to see it herself.
Yeah. So the first thing is before, and I know it's interesting to hear being a mother, right? But it's like an airplane that tell you when the mask fall out, you first put it on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Then you put it on your child. So here is the same thing. The one that is running away, needs protection first is you, not your daughter. Her safety comes from your safety. What she's picking up on, potentially, is that fear, that anger within you. So it's the root cause is within. Once you feel safe within, once you more or less resolve it, it will ripple to her. That feeling of safety will ripple to her. So it's less of a ritual of protecting her. It's more of the question of what kind of work I can do, how I can arrive into the place where that rawness of it, that emotional charge that you're feeling right now, is more grounded, more balanced. And within that, there is also art. And of course, I don't want to go back to it, right? It's not what I wanted more of. I'm just rebalancing myself. And there is a relationship with that man as the father of my child, and there's a relationship with him as my partner. And those are two different relationships. And they don't have to have the same emotional charge. There's some kind of reason, some kind of, and reason is the wrong word because reason is a mental word. There's some kind of gift in him being the father. There's something that your daughter potentially signed up for, so that she needed that experience. And he gave it to her in the way that she needed, in the way that her soul needed, and in the way that your soul needed. And when that place is where you're standing, when that becomes your home, from yes, that happened, and I'm grateful for the gifts of it. That's the part you want to arrive to. And on the way, feeling the kindness getting there. It's like you said, of course, I'm feeling that. It's absolutely natural to feel that. And through that process, I am capable of, and that's the masculine part that comes from your ancestry. I have the strength to arrive into that place of peace, to arrive, to step out of the rawness of that experience and step into, and because of that, I am empowered that way. I think it's not 100%. It's never going to be 100%. It's a journey. It's a constant equilibrium, right? The movement. But if the foundational movement, there is a strength that your daughter is receiving from her father, your partner, right? Your ex-partner, that he is the perfect father for her. That can be the phrase you may be looking in your head. He is the perfect father for her because there's nobody else who will replace him. Not as the father figure, the expectations that you have, the social norm of what should be, not should be, but on a soul level, he is, because there's no other one, because that's what is. And nobody can give it to her besides him. She will not be able to receive the strength of the masculine from anyone else except for him. And he is not just him, because you are not just you. He is all of his lineage. You are all of your lineage. So it's not the strength of him as a man that she's receiving. It's the whole line, all the way up to the divine father. So if it's difficult for you to kind of see through the humanity of it, lean into the divinity of it, lean into the archetype. So if you're looking for the ritual that's craving for, give me some support, choose the masculine archetype that works for you. Maybe it's sun, maybe it's Jesus, maybe it's Shiva, maybe it's Saturn. What works for you? Maybe it's the sky. What represents for you that sacred, balanced, organic, divine masculine?
Okay, so let's say that I have a masculine figure. I will when I will speak about our father, I will see this energy instead of the one I know. This is what you no.
Not that you see it, but you honor that through him, that energy comes to your daughter.
Okay.
Does that make sense? On a heart level, maybe? But it's that honoring to the masculine to begin with. Because right now the masculine perceive as dangerous and abusive.
I kind of know the difference between masculine and him because I have another partner which I'm building a very nice relationship. So it's not like all the masculine is completely not at all, at all. But this specific person and it's facts. So this is where I cannot really trick so much.
And that's where the brain limits.
Mm.
And because now you want to bring it to the heart. There's one thing that I know, and it's a different thing that I feel in my heart, and I feel not safe. And as long as I feel not safe, there's a pull.
Mm-hmm.
So right now you're in the head, try to bring it to the heart. See if you can bring it to the heart. And so what I would suggest, here's the ritual, right? So like I give you 2 rituals right now. First is honoring, the ritual of honoring the masculine energy in the way that you receive the masculine energy. Maybe it's your current partner, maybe it's your father, maybe it's any of the archetypes, right? Maybe it's any of the natural elements. Could be that. And you honor that in a way that honors you. it's often being recommended to bow to the masculine energy in a way that you want. For example, sun salutation is one of the ways we bow. It's like yoga movement to bow, right? It could be just pray pose bow. It could be the child pose bow. It could be putting the statues or wearing more yellow clothes on a Sunday bow. It could be honoring the Saturn bow. All of those rituals that honor bow to masculine energy in general, those will help you to begin with. But then there's also deep shadow work of how to bring safety to the one who is still running. The part of me that still feels like I'm running. Okay. And that you can do through the subconscious work. So whatever works for you, if you have any methods that you apply, I work with the constellations for that.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's group workshops. It's one-on-one space. It's somewhere when you can look into that fear that's still active, that's still alive, and look at the relationships, how they can be changed, how this soul movement can be originated to create balance, to create safety for that space, for that part of you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for asking. Akanksha, I see your hand.
Yes, I wanted to ask about addictions. So, because social media was mentioned previously, aren't some addictions more collective and not systemic in the sense that, um, like the concept of social media is just something worldwide phenomena, and we can feel addicted to it because of that versus a family entrapment?
Yes, and I'm trying to find the. We all kind of live in our own bubble, right? So everything that's happening worldwide gets to us through something, right? So it's our collective around us. It's not just collective of the global world, even though we are definitely interconnected and plugged into that. We have our personal, unique expression of it in our life. So if my family system is stable and balanced and healthy and harmonious, would I pick up on the collective outside of my system? If I'm plugged into the collective system, and that could be through my school, through my work, through the social media, through the information field, and there is no resonance in me, would I stick to it? It's kind of the thing of everything happens everywhere at once. But what we pick up is what resonates within us. And it sticks because it resonates within us. Did that answer a little bit?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for asking. All right. So I think we're good with shares. Yeah, I'm just going to make sure I didn't miss anything in the chat. Okay, got it. Now that's the practice that you can take home with you, the practice of imagining what that part, that emotion, that something that was in front of you and bring it closer to you. That's simple, and yet it's surprisingly almost the opposite of what we are trained to do. Right? When we have the pain, we're trained to numb it. So what we want to do here is bring that pain and have a conversation with it. And if you want to go even deeper, having this feminine masculine conversation with it, here's the practice. You can take this step further. Bring in front of you your inner feminine and your inner masculine. Center yourself as an observer and allow the conversation to happen between the feminine and masculine, one at a time. Just create that mental space in which feminine gets to speak. And it may be screaming, and it may be angry roaring, whatever that is, and we may be hiding. And simply hold space for that to happen. I promise you something will shift, it will evolve. That emotion will go into another emotion. And then do the same for the masculine. Allow the masculine to speak. And notice what they have to say to each other. And notice the emotional charge between those two parts of you. All right, now I want to share with you what we do when we go into the field, through the constellation, through the energy field, what it feels like. I want to give you that experience. So I am inviting somebody to volunteer as representative. Would you like to volunteer as representative for our group right now? Are you available for that? You do have to be on camera, please. So if you're not on camera, and put on yourself on camera. Yeah. Akansha, I saw you see your hand first. You available to represent?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to put you in a spotlight for everyone. I'm going to ask you to present two energies for us. And for everybody else, I invite you to tune in to Akansha as representing those energies. Akansha, I'm going to send you a direct message. So you know what you represent, but nobody else does, yeah?
Okay.
So the first one, do so let's give 2 minutes to this experience. And for everybody else, whenever you're ready, Akansha is going to take her presentation. Akansha, do you need any guidance? You good representing? You know how to step in? Okay. So you tune into Akansha through the eye contact and tune into your body to receive what it feels like to be in her presence. We'll give it 2 minutes just to have that experience. Okay, notice your state, and I'm going to ask Akansha to step into the neutral, back into your energy, and I give you the second representation. Everyone take a deep breath. Now, one more time. Whenever you're ready, tune in to the energy. And keep noticing what shifted in your body. Whenever it feels that you receive that information, go ahead and journal, take a note of how it was different. Thank you, Akansha. What difference did you notice in your body? And also notice the resistance. If there's any resistance came up to the exercise itself, notice that too. Would anyone like to share the experience? What came up with you? What did you notice? Was there a difference at all? Yeah, Anne, please.
The first one was I felt an agitation and an addiction, a return to a mind chatter addiction. And then I'm glad you mentioned, and there was a resistance too to the exercise, like, oh, of course, I'm not feeling what I'm feeling, that kind of a thing. The second one was an immediate freezing cold. I'm feeling this. Yes, this is happening here right now. Undeniable.
Very
So
interesting.
thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. Beautiful. Nita, please.
Yeah, for me, it was the first one was split personality. I was feeling like a split personality and it was making me frustrated. And in the second one, there was a lot of anger and frustration, but slowly it shifted to compassion.
Thank you. I think it will be really interesting for you to know what got represented. Yeah.
I'm eager to know that.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Oliver.
Yeah, the first one, I just felt huge amounts of grief, a kind of loss at what might have been and wasn't. And then the second one, there was a resistance on my left-hand side. There was a really hard no from my left-hand side.
Interesting.
Mm.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Isn't it fascinating how clear those emotions are in our body? How much we can actually articulate and speak them without even knowing what it is. Akanksha, please.
Should I go last and tell everybody? Or
Let's see. Yes, you should go last. Is there anybody else who would like to share what happened for you? Just bring it into the group, knowing that this is a gift for the groups. It's something that you're speaking may open up, may shift, may bring some insight to another person next to you. Sana, please. If I call you right, correct me if I didn't.
Yes, Hannah. Yeah, I felt like a stuckness. I felt stuckness and this kind of frustration, not knowing what to do. I felt like this kind of feeling being helpless between illusions or something like that. And after a while, I felt because I faced this kind of feeling and situation, I felt it turned into compassion
Mm.
and acceptance.
Thank you. Just that is a fascinating journey already. Just that is a healing moment. Take it in.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing.
thank you.
Nancy, please.
Well, I thought maybe this exercise has something to do with the content. of this workshop. So I thought perhaps one is a masculine role, another one is a feminine. But in the beginning, I wasn't sure what the exercise was about, whether Akansha was needing to look at somebody else. And then by the second exercise, I got it. So the first one, I felt like more of a masculine energy, and there was more focus, boundary, and determination. And I noticed myself, there is a kind of puffing up of the chest feeling of that I have to be consciously aware of my effort, my presence. And the second one is more feminine. So that is putting the assumptions, and these are the roles. Then is more feminine energy, and then I feel like I can relax and I can be myself, and there is more nurturance. So there's more a preconceived idea of these roles. So I just want to share that.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's a really interesting and an important point here as well, right? There's often a difference between what we think and what we receive subconsciously, right? There's the expectation of, or maybe focus on something else, and then the focus on myself, focus on how I'm actually receiving and how I'm actually feeling it.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you. Akanksha, please, and do share.
The first role I was assigned was of the mother, and I felt that the group energy like a lot in my stomach, so I felt like tight. I felt different things. I felt little bit helpless. Then I felt a little bit more determined, cold, but warm. It was like a series of different emotions that I was feeling. But mostly I felt a lot of stuff going on in my stomach region, like tightness. The second role I was assigned was of a helper. And in that role, in the beginning, I started feeling more wise. And I kept feeling like I'm downloading a lot of wisdom. The stomach tightness was reducing. And I started feeling more and more compassionate and I guess more loving in that role.
Thank you for sharing. So for everybody in the field, do take note on how you experience those two energies. The first one, the mother, the second one is the helper. And additionally, the note, if you do work with people, with clients, with customers, as a team leader in your own business, notice how much easier, smoother, more receptive that person may be if instead of standing in the role of the mother, you're standing in the role of the helper. People mark the word of compassion, right? So if it's something that you are coming into, you may reflect on the question how I can come into as a helper. Unless, of course, those are your kids, and then you're the mother. But in all the other situations, you're not the mother. You're the helper. That's an offering as well. All right. So I'm going to summarize a little bit what we've done so far already. So first, we got into the safety of the body. We offered the body to feel safe receiving a difficult emotion. Then we invited that difficult emotion in, or simply gave it space. So invitation may be the next step. The first step is giving it space, giving it place, giving it voice, giving it opportunity to speak, to be expressed without judgment. Then we also notice the relationship between, and let me put additional point on it, the relationship between the mother and the father the masculine and the feminine play the critical role in the safety of a child. The safety of a child comes from the safety of the connection in between. And it doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be ideal, but it may be what is, and the place of gratitude from what is. And then we brought our attention into how I perceive others and how others perceive me, depending on the place I stand from. So how I can empower that connection with the masculine in me. And there were several practices I shared with Gaia, I think, who left right now, that included bowing to, bringing awareness to a ritual of honoring the masculine and having a conversation. One of the most empowering tools you can have is having a conversation between the conflicting parts within you. We're talking about addiction, often systemic illnesses, revenge, atonement, guilt, inability to set boundaries, inability to act on new decisions. A lot of it comes from that imbalanced conversation between masculine and feminine. And it doesn't have to be direct masculine line. It doesn't have to be your father. It could be your uncle, your grandfather. It could be the masculine coming to you through the feminine lineage as well. That's why I refer to the concept of phenomenology. It's whatever the phenomenon in your family that is being carried on. And there's a collective as well. So the war, for example, on its own could be part of your family system as an ancestor. The immigration could be the part of your family system among the ancestral energies. So that's what we look at. That's how we untangle it. And notice the love that we poured into and the release it brought into your system. The amount of love just came from you. When we empower that love with the ancestral lineage as well, we empower the connection, we empower the result, and it ripples into the decision-making process. All right, so I have a couple of invitations for you. Would you like to hear about them? How we can go deeper into this work? We will have a workshop. The workshop will be full experiential. I'm not going to be doing slides. We're going to dive into the full experience of resolving, untangling the soul movement. I'm going to have representatives for the issue that you bring in. We're going to dive in and look at the hidden dynamics within that. We'll look at the family history, and we'll feel into that. So we'll originate the soul movement that will ripple effect. So that workshop is going to happen on May 18th, 2 weeks from now. And here's the thing that I promised you. I promised that I'm going to reward your time for being here on this Sunday, spending time with me, spending time in this healing. That you're going to get 50% off of that workshop. So it's going to go out for $97, and you're going to get it for $47 if that's something that you want to do within the next 24 hours. That's my thank you to you for dedicating your time here, for being here in this. So that's going to be on May. Why am I still on March? May 18th. And I'm going to give you the link. If that's something that you want to do. That's one. If that doesn't work for you, if the timing doesn't work for you, if you're not sure what your path is, for doing the ancestral healing. Oh, I did it. I only sent it to Akanksha. Let me send it to everyone. Here we go. So that's there for you. If you would like, and you never worked with me, and you would like to have a one-on-one first to kind of tune into the energy, I have a few spots that you can reserve for a one-on-one call. This is open to you if you haven't done it before. This is pretty much a 30 minutes, 30, 40 minutes breakthrough session. That's outside of the group workshop. So at this level, if you're not sure how to even approach, if you don't want to work in a workshop, if you prefer private work, that's there for you. That has a few spots. What else? I did share the guide with you. I do want to take a little bit of the feedback from people who did the guide, who experienced something in this work already, who had some shift, and think like me, like, "Ooh, this is going to be a gift." I can actually give this space with sharing what the practice of taking in my father gave me. Maybe it's related to decision-making process. Maybe it's related to your confidence, to your ability to set boundaries. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's something you're curious about. Let me know who wants to bring some, or maybe you have a question. Maybe you're not sure. Maybe you want to speak specific dynamics about your decision making specific process. Maybe it's not decision paralysis. Maybe you make too many decisions. What's in the space? Let's bring it in. And while I'm here, you can ask me questions about what you see on the workshop side as well. And that's something you have questions about. How to commit to decision. Where to find the masculine feminine guided meditation. We have that as well. That's on YouTube channel, by the way. You need a direction on finding that. It's like, hey, I've done this conversation and nothing changed for me. Let's do that too. Share that too. Maybe I can help you in some way of guidance. Please, then.
It's interesting because the whole time I'm thinking, do I have the right to jump in and ask these questions? That dynamic.
Yeah.
So I come from a family of 5 brothers and me, and then my little sister came along at the end of the line. And so there's a lot of masculine, feminine mix up. And right now, and I'm the first born daughter, but there's 4 boys ahead of me. But I was chosen as I took care of my father and I was his trustee. And now I just took care of my baby brother, and now I'm taking care of my elder brother and I'm his trustee. And the second born son has been attacking me. So I am the decision maker. I've been placed in that role and I welcome it, and I'm grateful for the gift. But I see that there's some need for repair or honoring so that I can do the job I've been asked to do without being attacked.
Yeah. There is longing for honoring both ends, the masculine and the feminine.
Right.
Yeah.
And it would be nice if the whole family could come together and help, because it's a big family, and there's everyone belongs. I would love for that to be the case, but it hasn't been, and it isn't now.
Mm-hmm. And there's a desire for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you want to look at those subconscious connections. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I guess I don't know how to, there's boundaries that I need to be able to set so that the attacks don't hinder my ability to do the job that I need to do. And on the other hand, my feminine wants to open up and invite and embrace everyone in. But there's a need for a boundary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Here's the one practice that, well, first, I hope you can come to the workshop so we can work through that. And there is some practice also that I think may be helpful in preparing for that. Do you do the inner child work? Do you have like communication with the inner child? Have you done it?
Interestingly, I had just done Reiki before I came here, and my inner child was embraced, and my mother and father were there embracing me.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be
Yeah,
actually the opening that allowed you to speak right now, right? And
I think
kind of overcome that obstacle of do I have the right to speak? There's already movement towards that. And within that inner child work, like when we do inner child work, we are bringing in the child, right? There's the child of me. My invitation at that place, when you come into the child and maybe you have the embrace and maybe there's some playfulness, when the inner child feels safe, because that's foundation number one, the inner child feels safe, right? You bring the safety into the body. That may be breath work, maybe just peaceful meditation, that may be a time in nature, in whatever your way to bring safety into the body. From that place, from that inner child, imagine, and pick the right word, imagine, allow yourself, visualize going deeper within the inner child and meeting the feminine and masculine within the inner child. And that could be a wordless conversation. That could be just because we're talking about the child conscious, right? That could be just, am we allowed to hold hands? Is there tension? Is there conflict in between? That opening, that core level of safety is what will then allow you to come into the place of the workshop, into a place of constellation with the ability to see beyond. What is that the family members are holding that doesn't allow the situation to be resolved in harmony? And how we can create the soul movement for that to initiate the entanglement. So during that work, that shadow work, we create the somatic blueprint, the somatic experience of a different picture. And we kind of feed that to the mind, right? We feed that from the soul to the mind, that there's a possibility, there is opening for that. You can be the one bringing the peace into that. It could be your role in this. And what is required for that? What support needs to come in? What needs to be said into the field, right? That's the soul language. What do we need to say into the field? Because when the truth is pronounced in the field, the system shifts. And that shift may create the harmony within. And as within, so without. Did that help?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for asking. Beautiful
Thank
question. Nina, hi.
Um, I just want to say that I've noticed when some kind of severe trauma happens, it often makes difficulties to understand what healthy boundaries means. It's some kind of that you start it happens a strange thing that you start to call that kind of person to your life that break your boundaries. It's like some kind of magnet, and it can also be inherited.
Yeah.
It's really difficult when there's many traumas in your family tree, and it happens this break, this pattern of someone is breaking your boundaries again and again.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I've noticed that it will take a lot of work to get those boundaries building up again.
Mm.
It can take many years to make yourself that kind of person that have a good boundaries again.
Yeah, it's trust, it's surrender, it's the inner strength, it's the trust that I'm going to bring just a little bit into that. And thank you for sharing that. Sorry, I'm hearing someone. Not sure where it's coming from. If you're not muted, please mute. The part that comes in to add to that, everything you said is right. It's like it's inherited and it's a lot. And it's not that I trust, I need to believe that I won't be hurt again, right? And it's part of what you said as well. It's not that I won't be hurt again. It's that I have the strength to overcome it. And that what allows me to, and the word setting boundaries is also one layer, we can go a layer deeper. Because if you don't resonate with it, if you're not on that frequency, if you're not willing to experience guilt, to experience being taken advantage of, that it won't stick with you, right? It's not going to resonate with you. You're not going to attract it. We attract it to specifically relieve the situation that had the possibility of a gift opening. And we keep reliving it and we keep reliving it and we keep reliving it because it's not unlocked yet. It's like playing the same level of the same game with different people in different situations, but the emotion, the underlying emotion is the same, right? So it's when we resolve the need for that emotion. There's a really great source of it. It's called The Existential Kink, that book that talks about if you have that experience, there's part of you that wants it, that craves it, that's calling for it, that's attracting it. And there is a bigger gift, there is a bigger picture underneath it. And why we keep attracting the same situations, why we keep, and it's the different methods. And we try to go into the soul so it doesn't take years. So that permission, but it's layer by layer. And number one, I mentioned foundational part is the inner child needs to feel safe. Because as you mentioned, there's trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma. I can only move as fast as my inner child feels safe. If I make a step forward and I'm healing it, but the inner child goes, no, we're not allowed. No, I'm not going to go. No, panic. We pause and we give it space and we give it voice, and we're not going to push it, because you don't want to push, and you can't push someone who's been traumatized, right? So once it's comfortable, and that's why surrounding makes a difference. That's why community makes a difference. That's why kindness makes a difference. That's why we come into the space and start with, this is a safe space. That's why you receive the emails, right, with that prepared you to come in for, this is a sacred space. This is a space of safety. This is a space where we can be allowed to see the truth. And the more we have a time in those spaces, the more the system relaxes, right? It's now a biochemical reaction. We let go of the hormones of fear, we let go of cortisol, we create a serotonin, we open up ourselves. And when we did the meditation, the beginning was opening up your heart, inviting to the degree that you can, allowing yourself to feel the safety for the inner child. All of those practices, while it seems simple, create the safety that allows to go through this process further and further. And the more safe we feel, the faster we're able to make the decision. And the more we're able to act on those decisions, that's also part number 2. Act on. I got the intuitive kit and I acted on it. It immediately creates the balance, feminine and masculine, because as a feminine, I felt into what needs to be done. I felt into the intuition. I felt into the environment that's around me. As a masculine, I supported that. So together we manifested it in reality. Was that helpful at all?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Mina. Definitely. All right, guys. Do we have any more share? We are at time. I do see a message from Mia. Let me see if I want to read it out loud. Okay, that's probably something you want to discuss either on one-on-one call or during the workshop. As the question is, what rituals can I do to relieve this stress on the family system? And again, it's back to the topic if it's phenomenological, right? So I can give you generic advice, but it may not resonate with you on a soul level. And what we want to, it's not a mindset thing. It's not something that I can do. It's something that needs to be felt. And that's the most important part. I know I said it pretty quickly and I had a lot of slides, but it's deeply felt love. And deeply felt love doesn't look like I'm going to read these words and it's going to pass on, right? Deeply felt means it's a somatic experience. I feel it in my body. I'm resonating with it in my body. I'm allowing to be expressed in a way that is not sticky, that it's not rubbishy, through the purity of it. That's that way of deeply felt love creates the soul movement. And there's a readiness that's needed for it. There's a safety that's needed for it. There's a support that's needed for it. So that's the workshop stuff, if you want to do that. The time zone for the work is the same time as this is today. Yeah. It's whatever time it is for you right now. Cool. Would you tell me a little bit about the 5-week workshop next month? Yes, I can tell you a little bit. The 5-week program is something that it's an immersion. It's something we're gonna run in June. So it covers the pre-recorded lessons. It goes through the what we did in the beginning of this workshop. It's the theory, all the systemic knowledge that comes with it, all the practices, the examples of the healing statements, the soul language, the meditations, the feminine masculine meditation, the inner child meditation, everything needs to be prepared. So that's comes in the beginning of the week, pre-recorded. In the end of the week, we meet live in a group and we do the healing work with your practices. So it's kind of designed for your busy schedule. So you do your thing at your own pace whenever it's comfortable for you. It's like 5-10 minutes videos. And then we come in and we meet with the group. Let me see where the question came from. So I can send you the link for the wait list. I did not announce it yet. If you come to the workshop, I'm going to announce it at the workshop. just because I don't have the sales page for that yet. But if you're interested, let me see if I can do that. I have something already. So just to let me know that, hey, I'm interested in this, and you're going to be on the waiting list for that. And yeah, that happens for 5 weeks. I think there's 1 week integration in the middle. Hey, what times are the live sessions? The live sessions are usually in the morning of US Pacific time, morning, afternoon. I think it's like 9, 10 a.m. It depends what the group wants. It's usually on the weekend, as people are more free on the weekend, unless the group wants it on Friday. So it's, yeah, awesome. We joined the wait list. Got it. Perfect. I'll see you there. Thank you for asking. I wasn't planning on talking about it. But yeah, that's the biggest one so far. Yay. Thank you guys. Thanks, Oliver. See you. Okay. Right. Good. So we are done with the main content. What else did I miss? Make sure that I didn't miss anything. Good. It's the heartfelt question that we have right now. So if you have questions, I'm here for another 10, 15 minutes. I'm happy to answer it. If you have, yeah, if you need any links, you're gonna get it in a message. If you want to give me the feedback, how was it? Was it helpful? Did you get anything? Was it totally like, oh, I see the cards. Okay, I love the cards. I can see the cards. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Vanessa, hi.
Hi, Vika. Yeah, thanks for putting this on today.
Yeah.
I just have a quick question. I just wanted to clarify my understanding. I think earlier on when you were talking to one of the ladies in the workshop, you mentioned her daughter who was underage. I think she was 15,
Mm-hmm.
but she was still under her emotional influence.
Mm-hmm.
And so is it when you have adult children that they're not under the kind of energetic influence in terms of the framework that you shared with us today?
Yeah. So the influence shifts a little bit. Technically, and I use the word technically because when we say we get to the age of adulthood, many of us live in the state of a child for many years, right? So it's not when there's harmonious development, usually the child goes under the field of influence of the mother first, and it's from conception to the age of about 7, 8. Then we moved into the field of the father. So the first we kind of learn what the world is like. Is the world a safe place? Is there, if there is a healthy boundary with the bond with the mother, then we have this perception of I'm if just you see the children, I just want to play. That's like playfulness. It's the feeling of safety. It's the feeling of the world is just made for me. It's designed for me to be in. That's that field of the mother, right? And that perception comes, I am safe. So if there is any trauma, the bonding trauma with the mother, the child picks up the anxiety, right? It's like the world is not a safe place. I'm constantly looking for something, for dangerous and scary in the environment. Then we move to the field of the father, and we kind of receive that. What does the world see me? This interaction with the world, how I present myself when I start speaking. Do I feel comfortable speaking that something that's not the common opinion, for example? That's ability to set boundaries. What's mine, what's not mine, what I want, what I don't want out of my life. And that usually goes from we have 7, 8 to 7th to the age of 13, 15. And then we take the period of time from like 15-ish until the 18, 20 when we becoming independent. So I'm separating from the field of the father. I'm honoring, I'm grateful for what they gave me, moving into the world as my independent, sovereign being. If there's any trauma, we carry that with us. So we don't fully separate. We may not fully separate from the mother. We may not fully separate from the father. And we keep carrying their stuff, their emotion, their anxiety, their depression, their trauma that they experienced in us. It is especially difficult when the relationship between the mother father are not healthy, are not respectful, are not honoring. Regardless of their relationship, maybe if they're together as partners or not, but it's that subconscious I honor you as the father of my child. I honor you as the mother of my child kind of relationship. And if that later in life, we don't normally do constellation for the children that are above the age of 18, if we consider that that's, I just want to help them, right? So if I'm the mother and I have a 15-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 7-year-old, and I want to look at how I'm impacting their behavior, their subconscious relationship with themselves, I can do it by looking through myself. And I can have, and like, it's mostly what the child is showing me is the projection of what I'm feeling inside. When the children are already adult, they may have their own entanglements that don't necessarily come directly from you as the mother. So for them, if I want to help them, what you want to look at, what is inside me that bothers me about them experiencing that. As at that point already, we may look at a constellation and see that they're actually dependent on you still, right? That there's still this very inseparable bond. And for a lot of us, it's true. For a lot of us, we in the field of the father or in the field of the mother through until very, very mature age. But it's just easier to see that projection when the kids are younger. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And back to the phenomenology, whatever the challenge you're experiencing, whatever the issue is, let's look at it in the constellation because it's going to be much more visible. We don't have to guess. But those are the common dynamics. Those what could be impacting you. Yeah. Cool. All right. I hope you got something. I hope you received something of this conversation, even though we didn't go into fully doing things, but it's important conversation. It's important to have this mental ease as you come into the workshop. So there's no resistance. There's no like, yeah, but that can't be, oh, I'm not sure if that's what I'm feeling. Because as somebody mentioned in the beginning, I'm feeling it, and then immediately comes this resistance and like, oh, that's not what I'm feeling. Because the mind doesn't have the explanation, doesn't find the explanation. So it's easier for the mind to block it and say, like, maybe that's not it. Maybe you shouldn't trust yourself, kind of thing. And that should already tell you something, that this is the pattern over there. All right. I think that's it, guys. Thank you so much for spending this time with you. So good to see you from all over the world. I hope I'll see you in the workshop. If you have any questions, let me know. Okay? All right. Thank you all. See you. Bye.